What about the transgender community? Is their fight for equal rights also picking up steam? Michael Silverman is the executive director of the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund, and Laverne Cox is back. She is the star of Orange is the New Black, a transgender rights advocate as well. Let me start with you. Always good to see you, of course.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the show here in just a second before I get out of here, because your fans would take me to task if I didn't ask you. Last month, we know that the Senate overwhelmingly and bipartisanly passed the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, as it's called. It would essentially prohibit discrimination in the workplace based on sexual orientation and gender identity. It's still awaiting a vote in the House. For folks who have not necessarily been following this as closely as they should, how important of a law would this be for the transgender community?
Well, first of all, this is the first time the Senate has actually voted on the ENDA bill, and this is an inclusive ENDA bill. Several years ago, there was a bill that was put forth by certain members of Congress that didn't include transgender people. So it's still legal in about 33 states to fire someone simply for being transgender, and so this law would protect people from that. And transgender folks, our unemployment rate is actually twice that of the national average. If you're a transgender person of color, it's 4 times the national average. So this bill would be a huge boost for employment, non-discrimination for transgender
33
people.
states.
Absolutely.
I don't think a lot of folks realize that.
Yeah.
Michael, political feasibility. What are the chances of this thing passing both houses?
You know, the chances are good. Look, it's our job as activists and advocates for the transgender community and community members to keep telling our stories, to introduce ourselves to the American people, because we find that the more that American people get to know the unique challenges that transgender people face, which aren't so different from what everyone else faces, right? It's things like getting and keeping jobs so that we can support ourselves and our families, getting access to health care, ensuring that we can live safely and free from violence. People overwhelmingly support transgender rights, and we'll find that in the coming years we will pass an inclusive ENDA bill that protects transgender people from being fired.
Let's go to California here specifically, because thanks to a new law there, when students return from winter break, transgender students from kindergarten through 8th grade, as I understand it, will be able to use whichever bathroom they'd like to, based on their gender identity. The law also gives them the option of playing on boys or girls sports teams as well in California. At this point, do we see other states following suit, or is it too early to tell? And if so, which states?
Sure. Look, we already have more than a dozen states that protect transgender people from discrimination in places like schools. California already did, and this law was a clarification designed to make it clear to California schools, look, you have to make sure that all of your students have the same opportunity. This year, one of the breakout stories, in addition, of course, to Laverne's, was Coy Mathis in Colorado. She was a little 6-year-old girl whose family sued the school district because they wouldn't let her use the little girl's bathroom. They treated her as a girl, they let her dress as a girl, and they said, you're the only little transgender girl who's not going to be allowed to use the girl's bathroom, and she won. So we're finding, again, when we tell these stories, people support our rights.
Michael just alluded to it. You, of course, had a heck of a year yourself. You became the first African-American woman, the African-American transgender woman to have a leading role on a mainstream show. Time Magazine, I don't know if you heard about this, fourth most influential fictional character of 2013. That's a big deal.
I don't quite know how to process that.
That's a big deal.
To be perfectly honest, I'm really, really grateful, and I think I'm so happy to be here today and to have this opportunity, because I get to live my dream as an actor, but I also get to hopefully amplify so many transgender people's voices who don't have the platform that I get to have.
As an advocate, what's the most important thing for you to achieve for the transgender community next year, 2014?
Well, I'm excited about about Assembly Bill 1266 in California, but I'm also excited about the implementation of the Prison Rape Elimination Act, which actually went into effect earlier this year and protects transgender people who are incarcerated. Transgender folks are 13 times more likely to be sexually assaulted in prison than other people. And so the Prison Rape Elimination Act stipulates that trans people shouldn't be housed based on genital status, that they should be housed according to how they identify in terms of gender. So that's a huge law that will affect the lives of so many incarcerated trans people all over the country.
For your show fans who are watching right now, I know you're wrapping up taping for next season. What can you promise them?
I can promise them lots of drama and lots of comedy and amazing fun things.
Oh, you're giving them nothing. You gave them nothing. You gave them no specific nugget or tidbit. That's good. Well played. I like what you did there.
Thank you so much.
Michael Silverman, Laverne Cox, always good to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
We will be right back.